Hi there, and welcome. I am Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO, location independent income through your own laptop based, location independent, Alpha 2.0 business that you own and control that sets you free from your stupid corporate 9 to 5 job and your collapsing Western country and setting up an international backup plan. Or if you want, moving to a less bad country and doing all these things for very little money. Today, we're going to talk about delegation, which is a core part of time management and your financial success as a business owner and as a happy person living in the collapsing Western world. Hang on. Let me double check the technology here, make sure we're good. And we are. Before we get to our top, I'm going to bring on Billy in a few minutes because this is one of her extra areas of expertise. I'm introducing a new segment to this podcast called Today in Western Collapse. Two things. One is, Billy, can you see me and hear me? Cool, I'll bring on a second. Two things. And one of these things I didn't know. So actually, you know what? I can bring you on for this, Billy. I'm not talking about Western. Oh, not yet? Not yet? Okay. All right, I'll let you know in a few minutes. Two things. One is, some articles have come out recently from college professors, including college professors and educators who work with other college professors. And the number one complaint of all these college professors is these college students don't know how to read books. They can't assign read this book. They can't do it because these college students go, but I don't know how to read a book. Can you just give us like excerpts? And when these college professors say, of course you know how to read a book. You were assigned reading books in high school. And these students will go, no, I wasn't, which is true. So high schools and middle schools are no longer assigning books to read. Now, if you are Gen X, my age or older, you were assigned books to read in high school. I was assigned books to read, not huge, long books, but real books, you know, Chaucer and that type of stuff, back when I was in 7th and 8th grade. Now, back in 7th and 8th grade, to be clear, I went to a private school, so maybe you can't compare that. But I did go to a normal, everyday, dumb shit, left-wing suburban high school, and I was assigned books to read. They aren't anymore. So now college students, including Ivy League college students, including AP college students, don't have the ability to read a book. These schools are instead signing them like poems and excerpts and summaries and shit like that. Kids these days, which is now what they call hilariously Gen Alpha, this is the generation below Gen Z. So teenagers, people like under the age of 20 right now, don't know how to read books. That's the future of your society, folks. Now, why is this? Obviously, smartphones. It kills your attention span, obviously. So that's one reason. The other reason is, like I said, high schools and middle schools are not assigning books. Why? Why aren't high schools over the last 20 years? And again, these are educators who've been educators for 20 years. They're like, this wasn't a problem 20 years ago, but it's a problem now. Western collapse. Two reasons. One is moms, left-wing mothers who say, oh, don't assign my child this work. It's too difficult. It's too hard. When I was a kid, if you brought home a bad report card, a deep D on your report card, your parents kicked the shit out of you. You got in big trouble. I did. And those of you who are my age or older, you probably got your ass kicked. Starting with the millennials, and certainly in Gen Z, when they come home with bad grades, the parents yell at the teachers. So as a result, the teachers start assigning easier and easier and easier work. I wonder why Asia and China and Japan and Hong Kong and all these Asian countries are kicking our kids' asses in terms of academics. I wonder why. The other reason that they're not doing this is because of No Child Left Behind and Common Core. Those of you know those are, and if you're into politics in the United States, what are these systems? Where do these systems come from? Were these systems were mandated to the schools by whom? By whom? Government. This is a result of educators or the free market system. Government mandated No Child Left Behind and fucking Common Core, if you know what those are. If you have kids right now, or if you had kids in the last 10 years, which I have, you know exactly what those things are. Those things have steered the focus away from reading books. It makes it harder to comply with No Child Left Behind and Common Core. So teachers, to be compliant with these government-run systems, assign them excerpts and shit like that, and essays and poems and shit. By the way, Who came up with, why is my nose itchy? I don't snort cocaine. Who came up with Common Core, or who assigned Common Core, and who assigned No Child Left Behind? Republicans. Republicans. All you right-wingers, Democrats are destroying the country. Yes, they are. And so are you. So there you go. So that's data point number one. Second data point, speaking of Gen X, and I didn't know this. I'm usually not surprised when I see these horrible facts and statistics about Western collapse. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is different. I'm Gen X. I'm 52 years old. I was born in 1972. Gen X, and these numbers vary, or these years vary. Gen X are people born between 65 and 1980. Okay. Some of you are in that category. Most of you aren't. Most of you are younger than that. But a lot of you are in that category. Okay. So if you were born in those age ranges, you're Gen X. I'm right in the center of Gen X. I'm 1972. I'm right in the middle. A lot of my opinions, attitudes, viewpoints, preferences are right out of Generation X. I'm a very Gen X guy. Generation X, which they're now calling the forgotten generation, which is true because, as I mentioned, for some strange reason, society's decided to never talk about us. Whenever you hear about generations in the news, even in the internet news, it's always boomers and Gen Z. And sometimes they talk about millennials. They never talk about us Gen X for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. Very odd. It's very confusing. I'm not sure what that's all about. My guess is that we don't complain. A, we're not in power, so we're not relevant, not yet. And B, we don't complain about shit like the millennials and Gen Z do. They complain all day. I think that's why no one talks about us. I don't know. You could maybe consider that a compliment to your generation if you're Gen X. I don't know. Hang on one second. Is my screen frozen? If you're in the chat, can you say, yes, I can still see you and hear you, Caleb? Do me a favor. I don't know why. Oh, you can? Okay, Billy can. Okay, cool. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, Gen X lost 50% of their net worth in a year and a half. Okay. Only since 2 years ago has Gen X recovered that 50%. All right. So think about this for a minute. It took 14 years for Gen X to recover the 50% they lost in 2008. So only since 2022 have they recovered that 50%. So Gen X as a generation is financially the same position they were in 2008. Except now they're 14 years closer to retirement. So if you're Gen X, if you're the average Gen X, this is, and I relate to some of this. I mean, you've read my books. You know what happened to me in the global financial crisis, 2008. It was bad. I was also going through a divorce at the same time. Not fun. I lost a lot of money. So yeah, I went through that shit too as a Gen Xer. Because of this problem, Gen X have basically, if you're in Gen X, you've had 14 years wiped out from your finances. And Gen Z and millennials love to complain about how they got fucked, and they're right, they did. But we did too. That's why it's so irritating for when younger people call us Gen Xers boomers. We hate the boomers too. They fucked us too. Gen X, because of these statistical realities, will become the first generation in the United States as a generation-wide, who won't be able to retire. Because boomers kind of retired, they kind of didn't. Gen X is now starting to retire. So if you were born in 1965, so my ex-wife, my first wife, was born in 1966. She's almost 60 now. That's so crazy. I married her when she was like 30. She was 31 years old when I married her. 31 years old and cute. That's such a long time ago. I'm that old. She's almost 60. So the older Gen Xers are starting to retire now a little bit by bit. This is going to increase over the next few years as Gen X starts to retire. They don't have any money. And millennials don't have any money, and Gen Z doesn't have any money. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. So there you go. This has been my new weekly segment called Today in Western Collapse. Did I watch the Joe Rogan? Hey, Billy, give me the thumbs up when you're ready. Come on, whenever you're ready. You're good now? Okay, hang on a sec. Did you watch the Joe Rogan Trump interview? I did. Not in one sitting. I have other things to do. I played it in the background, other things to do. What's interesting about that is when I saw it on YouTube, I would watch like 45 minutes of it or half an hour, whatever, and then I would leave and do something else for about an hour, and then I'd come back to it. In the hour, I paused and came back. It went up by 2 million views. What is it at now? How many millions of views is that at? Insane. The number of views that thing is getting. Crazy. I think all presidential candidates should do podcasts and talk for 3 hours. I think that's a good idea. All right, Billy, I'm going to bring you in here. Hello.
Hello.
Your camera's a little blurry.
I don't know what's going on. Let me try something. I'll be back.
I had to put my glasses. Before I say, hey, you're blurry, I got to put on my glasses because I'm old. That's fine. Take your time. I'll answer questions. I'm 18 years old. I work on my mission. No, just do my business 2.0. No. If you are, and this is a change to my new book, which is hopefully coming out next week. I'm waiting on Amazon and Audible, waiting on them. If you're under 30, you don't have to worry about mission. You do need to worry about vision and goals and all their stuff, but not mission. No, wait till you're 30. If you're 30 or over, sorry, need a mission. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Can you discuss strategies for completing tedious tasks more efficiently? I will talk about that with Billy. For example, you mentioned taping trash bags to your Paraguay house. What other well, to the counter, not to the house, but yes. What other similar time-saving hacks do you recommend? Oh, that's better. Hang on, let me unmute you. Or you're unmuted?
Oh,
there you go. That's better. You have a princess tiara.
No. I have my Queen of Delegation tiara.
Oh, thank you. That's right. That makes more sense. Do you see that question from Bobby Plaza? You want to address that, and I'll answer it too. We'll roll right into our topic.
Sure. Can you discuss strategies for completing tedious tasks? First of all, don't tape trash bags to your wall like Caleb does. That's ridiculous. If you ever want a woman to come into your space, good Lord, that's ridiculous.
The girl's opinion. Yes. If you're a woman, don't do that. If you're a guy, do it.
Have a trash bin deep beneath your desk. It's not that hard, right? Like have a trash bin in the space where you're working.
No, too small.
Have the things at hand that what the hell are you printing or writing that you need to throw away at that volume?
I don't want to take the trash out every 2 days. I want to take the trash out once every 10 days.
Oh my God. Okay, you do you, brah. But as a woman, if I walked into a place and saw things taped to the walls, that would be the last time I was in that space. So that's just my one.
If women don't like it, they can leave.
Well, that's my point, is they're more likely to. So keep that in mind.
Not with me, baby.
That's because you pay them. There's a difference. But no, in all seriousness, what I recommend is keeping those things at hand that you need. Set up your environment to be conducive to you, right? That it's as simple as that. Trash bags are one. Caleb, you have a water removal hack that you engage in.
It's right there.
So Caleb wee-wees in bottles because he doesn't get up and go to the bathroom.
Plus, I drink a lot of water. And I drink a lot of water.
We all do, yeah. Or we all should.
Now, what I do with that, to your point, what I do with that is there's a bag that's covering it. So if you look at it, you can't tell what it is. It's a bag. So I don't want people to freak out too much. I don't care. But so I am a little cognizant of other people's feelings. 5%.
It's super creepy from my perspective, but hey, do you draw? There are a lot of things like that. If I know that I'm going to get hungry at some point during the day, but I want to be focused and I have focus time, instead of giving myself an excuse to get up and go get something, I have little packages of almonds and nuts in my desk, right? Mm-hmm. It's about having those things nearby. Now, on the other hand, if there are tedious little tasks that you're not getting to and that are inefficient, you shouldn't be doing them, which is the topic of our entire podcast today.
Correct.
It's all about delegation.
You want to start that off and just roll into that? You want to just start that? You can if you want.
Yes. So the reason I'm wearing a tiara is because I joke around and say that I'm selfish or I'm lazy. The reality is I have to be able to delegate to follow the dopamine and do the things I'm interested in, right? If I have to do the bookkeeping, the scheduling, sending out all of the vendor payments within every business, I don't get to explore the other things that are more exciting to me. And I'm not living the CEO lifestyle, which then means I can't live the Alpha 2.0 lifestyle either. Do you see how this correlates? I'm holding myself back from doing the things that are interesting to me. So even if it's something that takes you 5 minutes and you just don't like it, it makes sense to make a list of those items that you either dislike, that you procrastinate doing, or that you're not very good at and you feel that you have to work pretty hard at, right? Make a list of those things, and then we start looking for someone to come into our life to take those off of our plate. Wouldn't you agree, Caleb?
Yes. So I come at this from a different standpoint, but I agree with everything you said. That's why it's good to have Billy on these podcasts, because he has a different perspective than I do, but we end up at the same place. So what Billy just said is delegate the tasks that are irritating to you so you're a happier person and you live a better life. And she's right. You should do that. Absolutely. My priority, at least at this time in my life right now, this will change in about 2 years, is not necessarily being happy, although that is always my priority, my overarching priority. It's all my content is about long-term consistent happiness, right? In terms of delegation, I look at it as money. So if I am washing my own clothes, if I'm doing my own laundry, am I making money? No. If I am cleaning my own apartment or my own house, am I making money? No. If I'm washing my own car, am I making money? No. If I'm checking all of my email, all of it, am I making money? Not really. Maybe a little, but not very much. I'm making a tad. So I look at it as an ROI. So I will make sure that I don't do anything where I am not making significant money unless I'm taking a specific break, which is a pre-planned thing in my day, which Billy and I talked about last week in terms of tracking your time and things like that. So I'm actually offended. I'm not offended. I don't get offended by anything, but I'm pretending as if I'm normal. I'm actually offended. I'm offended, not offended, but I don't know what the word I would use. When people ask me questions that have to do with things I'm not doing and I should be doing. For example, here's a question I've had several times from several of you, especially when I did more YouTube videos that were edited. People would say, Caleb, what video editing software do you use? That question is offensive to me. See, Billy's laughing because she understands. That question is offensive. It's not literally offensive. I don't care. But that question is like, what the fuck, bro? Really? I have never edited a video in my entire life.
Why would I need to know that?
Why? I don't make any fucking money when I edit a video. I don't make any money. And is that a skill I should be building up? Video editing. No, AI will replace that in a few years anyway. So no. So when I used to do, this is a podcast, but this is a live stream podcast. I used to do podcasts that were edited back in the days when people did that. And people say, what audio software do you use to edit I have never edited an audio file in my entire life. I've never done it. I don't know how. No idea. Correct.
Caleb, let's be honest. You don't know how to send a Google Calendar invite. Literally.
This is a recurring joke with my team. I don't know how to send a Google Calendar invite. So Billy or Jeff or one of the people on my team say, oh, yeah, just send us a Google Calendar invite. I go, how do I do that? Now, why don't I know how to do that? Because I've had people my whole life doing that for me. I don't want to do my schedule. Stupid.
It's an unnecessary skill.
Completely unnecessary, and it doesn't make me money. So if you combine what Billy and I both said, which is how you should approach these things, A, it doesn't make me any money. B, I don't like it. Do I like editing videos? No. I want to write books. I want to create content. That's what I like. I don't want to edit fucking videos. So I don't like it, and it doesn't make me any money. I shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. I should delegate that as soon as I have the ability to do so. So let's cover that really quick. That's an important point. Because people say, well, I'm not making any money yet. How can I delegate? Or I only make this. Okay, so here's this works. You delegate it as soon as you're able to afford it. You don't just keep putting it off and putting it off, and I'll cover that in a few minutes. Like, no one can do this. Only I can do this. Cover that in a second. You delegate it as soon as you're able to afford it. So, for example, if you make $3,000 a month in your location dependent business and your location dependent, first of all, you're in the top echelons of humanity. If you make $300,000 a month location independent, you have to be there. That's great. Okay. If you make $3,000 a month, should you pay for a personal chef to make all your food for you? Probably not. Now, maybe you could get away with it in some cheap way. It's possible if you live outside the Western world. Maybe you live in Paraguay.
And you order something like Cook Unity or one of those things that delivers like chef quality meals.
Meal delivery service. Prepared. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
in fact, I tried that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I do it because cooking for one person is boring, and I don't like leftovers, and I don't like washing dishes. Nor do I particularly like grocery shopping.
See, she says I don't like it. She's right. I don't like it either, but I don't make any money doing it. So that's how we approach this completely differently. But I still don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't make any money. So what the fuck am I doing?
Here's one objection we get a lot that I think we should address really early on. There are some things that you do that are stupid that you're not going to give up, and that's okay. We want you to give up as many as possible. But here's a good example of that, Caleb. And I know because you're going to roll your eyes to heaven like 87 times.
I can see this coming already.
Ambulance. I fucking love travel planning and event planning. To me, it's just like putting together really easy puzzles. I would much rather do that than do like a Sudoku, which is basically organizing somebody else's messy numbers, right? I can just create an event because it's a fun little exercise. Should I be doing that? No. Do I want to do it? Oh, yes, very much so indeed. So I'm going to keep doing it. And if there are components of your business that you feel that way about, where I'm not here to tell you to stop. Now, Caleb might because he's an ass. But Auntie Billy says, if there are things that resonate with you, that bring you joy, that you love to do it. But get rid of the other crap so that you can. That's all
Billy is right. Right. So I agree with that point, but let me put that in context for some of you. Billy has mastered her time. Billy makes high six-figure income. She's very successful. She makes a lot of money, and she's doing this on purpose. She's not doing it because she's scared or she's lazy or thinks no one else can do it. They'll fuck up my travel, so I have to do it. You got to look at the reasons why she's doing it. So she's doing it as a purposeful thing. And she's right. If there's a dumb task in your business or in your life, which you enjoy doing, but you're in a position to outsource it, you choose not to because you really like it, and everything else is great around it, and the rest of your life is great. You don't have 27 things. Billy said event planning and travel planning. Billy didn't list 27 things. 2 things.
2.
That's it. My mom really liked to make our beds when I was a little kid. She instead of making us do it, she purposely wanted to do it herself because to her it was like she was very religious, and that was like her blessing for that child for the day. So she purposely told my dad, "Don't make them make their beds. Make them do other things, clean their rooms, yes, but I want to make their beds." So it was something she was purposely doing that she enjoyed. It was special to her, but it wasn't 14,000 things. We still had to clean everything else. Mm-hmm. We still had a normal childhood. So yes.
And the only reason I bring that up is because from here on out, you're not going to hear room for excuses anymore.
Correct. Unless you literally can't afford it.
Yep. If you can't afford it, awesome. But what percentage would you say, Caleb? Let's say you get your first contract. You've got your first client. You're going to get rolling. What percentage of that contract would you keep aside for hiring help?
It depends the size of the contract. Because you get little contracts, you get giant contracts. I mean, we've seen this. You get little contracts, you get massive contracts. So if you get a substantial contract that's real money, the very first thing I have in my more advanced coaching programs, which I don't do anymore, we had a hierarchy of like 14 things you outsource in the order in which you could afford them. So if you start making a little money, you do this first, then you do this, then you do this. So I'll give you a kind of abbreviated version of that. The first few, right off the bat, and tell me if you disagree on any of these, Billy. When you start your business right off the bat, even if you're not making that much money, you should probably outsource bookkeeping.
Immediately.
Probably, yeah. So that means you get your QuickBooks set up. Bookkeepers are super cheap, especially if you get them outside the collapsing USA. Don't hire a bookkeeper in Los Angeles. That's stupid. Hire one in, India or the Philippines or Bangladesh. They're great. Okay. That right there. You should do that immediately. The next thing is when you make a little more money, not a lot, a little, is what I would call bullshit admin tasks. Yeah. Your administrative paperwork bullshit. Get that off your plate as soon as you can. That is classic SW work that needs to get done, but doesn't make you any money, and you're not going to help yourself by learning how to get better at paperwork. That's not a valuable skill. You shouldn't be doing that as the owner of your business, the CEO of your company. Do you see Elon Musk getting on the phone and handling customer service calls? No, unless he's doing some kind of joke, right? So that's the next thing. And then the third thing is, a thing to the side of that would be technical work. So here's the thing. A lot of you, like me, are like me, and you have a lot of technical skill. You come out of the nerd world. A lot of you are nerds like I am. Great. So you know how to, and this is a disadvantage. This is where Billy is better than I am. Because I know how to do all this crap in my business, I end up historically, not so much anymore, but for many, 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 many years, I would just do it myself. Because if WordPress has a problem, well, I know WordPress. I know how to fix that. I would go in there and fix it, go to the HTML and blah, 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 and I would fix it.
And it only takes 5 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, it only, right?
Right. And that's another thing. Oh, I can do this in 10 minutes and then I'm fucking around for an hour. That's really common with technical stuff. So if you say, but I know how to do it, I can just do it myself. I don't need to hire a website guy. I know how to do websites. So do I. Here's the example I've used. This isn't true anymore, but this has been true most of my adult life. Most of my adult life, I had the ability to do my own tax returns, my own personal tax return, my own corporate tax. I could do it myself. I don't need to hire a fucking accountant. They're going to charge me $1,000. I can do it myself. So I could do it myself. Here's the problem. It would take me 40 hours and I'd make a bunch of mistakes, but it would work and I'd fix them later. Or I could bite the bullet, spend $800, $1,000, whatever, because I have multiple companies and things like that. Actually, it's be more now, and have an accountant do it. It would take the accountant maybe 5 hours and it would probably be done 99% correctly.
And you'd have audit protection usually, because that's usually
that too, correct. But all these benefits. So it doesn't matter if you know how to do it. I'll give you another example that used to drive me crazy. Way back when I was a computer consultant, okay, a billion years ago. I was servicing this company and I was the IT guy for the company. It says I was the IT guy you would hire if your company wasn't quite big enough to hire a full-time IT nerd on staff. So like if you had like 30, 40 employees, it wasn't worth you hiring an IT guy. When you had 100, yes. So I was working at this company and we worked with another company that was the same size, the same industry. And the owner of that company, so this is like a company with 40 employees, was in the lumber industry because I used to work in Oregon. What the CEO of this company would do, this is the owner of this lumber company. When his buddies would say, well, have your IT guy do it, he goes, oh, I don't have an IT guy. Fuck, those guys charge $150 an hour. Fuck that. And I did. I charged about that much back then. He's like, I'm not doing that. Fuck that. I'll do it myself. So anytime any of his 30 employees had a computer problem, which they did all the time, 30 employees, that's a demand, he would stay after work. This is the owner of the business. And he would go over to the computer and just fuck around for hours and try to fix it himself. If he couldn't fix it, he would call Microsoft tech support. And back then, maybe you could still now, you could pay a $200 fee and they'd have to stay on the phone with you till you fixed it. And he would just pay the fee and figure it out himself. He spent hours and hours and hours. We said, look, I don't have an IT bill. Ha ha. He was a moron. And everyone in the company, everyone in his industry who knew him, the other CEOs, these other companies, like, this guy's an idiot. He can be growing his business, but he wants to save, $5,000 a month when he could be making $100,000 a month, $300,000, $1 million a month extra on top of what he's doing, because he didn't want to fucking delegate, because he knew how to do it. So just because you know how to do it is actually a danger sign. I know how to do all these different things in my business. And so I still to this day try to, like, my brain goes, oh, I can just do that. But no. Have this person do it. Have that. See, Billy, you don't have that problem. You will delegate right off the bat. You won't even try to think about how to do it.
Yeah. Right. There are some things. So when I'm starting a new company or helping a client start a new company, I will learn how to do the bare bones of what I need to do, right? For different specialties, different functionalities, just so I understand what the systems are I need to put in place. And I see things differently than other people. I can see these. The best way to describe it is my brain works within a business like an exploded drawing of a car. where all of the little parts, are kind of radiating out. That's how I see businesses. So I know my brain works a little differently. But what I do is I go in and I learn the key component parts that I need, and I delegate them immediately. And I do only the things that only I can do. Sometimes that's hard. 10 years ago, that was hard. 15 years ago, it was super hard. And 20 years ago, it was inconceivable.
Yep.
So it is a journey that you go on. I didn't seek mentorship or help because I didn't realize there were resources for this and that this was a normal thing, right? I just thought, well, business owners do it all. Well, that's really dumb.
Right.
I just had
and people think that. People think that. People think business owners do it all because they're awesome entrepreneurs. The entrepreneur means you can do all these 27 different things. No. No, they don't do it all.
Entrepreneurs do not. Entrepreneurs do. Those are the people that you hear bitching and complaining that they spend
stressed out
70 or 80 hours on their, working a week.
Yep. And that was me.
Exactly. But that's something that Caleb, even as a time management expert for years, when we started working together, what is it, more than 6 years ago now, that was something that you struggled with still. And we had to very purposely work through that because, again, you can do everything. And so can I. We can learn things.
Which is a problem. It's a problem when you can do everything. It's a problem. It's better. The book, my favorite business books, you should all read this if you haven't, is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And in that book, one of the concepts he puts forth, and he's right about this, and it's very confusing if you never start a business to hear someone say this, and it confused me a little bit. I was already a business owner, but once I thought about it, he's right. He said it's actually better to start a business that you have no idea how to do the operational stuff. So if you have no idea how to cut hair, you should start a hair salon. Don't start a hair salon. It's location dependent. You get my point. That was his example. If you have no idea about anything about computers, you're a computer moron, start a computer business. Because what that does is it forces you to start thinking like a CEO and a business owner instead of a technician who can also do 14 other things and happens to own the business. That was his point. So it's a danger when you know how to do these things.
I've heard this very, very often. As many of you know, I used to be a professional horse rider. And a big part of that was, oh, shoot, guys, my train of thought just derailed a little bit because I was looking at Caleb.
It's the tiara.
I know it must be the sparkles are like radiating my brain cells away. No, but a lot of stables, for example, will not hire someone who's been to a university and has a degree in equine studies. The reason for that is because they want to teach them specifically, and they're not coming in with a bunch of preconceived ideas of this is how something should be done. This is what it looks like in my experience, right? Because those are limiters. So often we want that clean slate in our staff in some ways, as well as in ourselves. And if you're coming into a niche where you maybe do have some experience, it is going to take more effort for you to delegate. But that's why it's important to find the right people. Would you agree?
Let's talk about that in a second. One more quick point to bolster what she just said. I like business movies. So a really good business movie, if you haven't seen it, I bet a lot of you have, is an old movie from the 2000s called Boiler Room. And there's a scene in Boiler Room where they're hiring Ben Affleck when he was young. He's the boss in this conference room, and they've hired a bunch of brokers who are in training to be brokers. And he stands in front of him and goes, all right, before I begin, these are all the brands. This is like day one. Before I begin, has any of you taken your Series 7, which is back then anyway, the thing you had to pass to become an official broker? And this one guy goes, I've taken my Series 7. He goes, great, you're fired. Get out. He was like, what? He goes, yeah, we don't hire brokers here. We train them. We don't want brokers here. And the guy's all confused and he has to leave. And but that was realistic. That's actually what happened with some of those companies. You don't want, I'm not saying you hire morons. You get the point that Billy and I are making here, is that you want to make sure that the fact that you know how to do something does not influence your decision as to whether or not to do it. The only decision should be does this make me money? And do I like or dislike it? That's it. Let's see. Before we talk about hiring people, because that's a big topic, one more thing I want to cover, because I know you guys, a lot of you fuckers bring this up. This is the biggest excuse. A few things. There's two aspects. One is, what if I hire them and they fuck it all up? they fuck up my stuff, and they piss off my clients. Okay, that's one. The other one is no one can do it as good as me. Let me cover the second one first really quick. Sometimes that's correct. Guess what? That's okay. There's a really good book. Billy, you actually had me read this book. It's called Buy Back Your Time. One of the best books you can read if you already have a business. If you're brand new, you don't necessarily need it. But once you have a thriving business, you should read it. And the concept in there is that 80% is awesome. So if you have a business owner or one of you is like, well, if I hire this one, they'll be able to do maybe 80% as good as me. That's great.
Yeah.
That means 70% as good as you is acceptable. Room for improvement, but it's acceptable. If I hire someone to offset something I was doing and they're 70% as good as I was, which means the 30% they're not near, great.
Yes.
Thank God. Now I cannot do that thing anymore and make more money and do things I like. So 80% is awesome. Just like the old rule I've talked about, 80% equals done.
Yes.
If you're writing a book or you're doing a course, 80% means you're done. Because anything, because you can fucking perfection the shit out of that for 20 years. Stupid. 80% equals done. So 80% is awesome. If they can do it, 80% as good as you.
Yeah.
So don't try to find people who are you. If they were you, they'd already have a business and be in competition with you. If they were you, they're not you. Now that's not good or bad. I'm just giving you the realities here. So they don't need to be as good as you. Number one.
They shouldn't be. It's a little bit of a red flag in some ways. If they're outstanding at talent and can do everything you can do, there's something very wrong. Run away.
Depending on the scenario, but correct. Sometimes those are good. Sometimes those are good because you can bring on someone who's good as you, but they want to focus on a slightly different area as you, and then you can kind of partner up. And so there's scenarios where that can work. But you get my point.
I think that's the case with you and I specifically, is that we split things up. We look at things through different lenses, etc. But neither of us feels that the other one has to replicate us, right?
Right.
When you speak to my audience or my coaching staff, or when I speak to your audience, I don't feel like I have to be Caleb Jones. I don't have to feel like I'm measuring up to something because I know that we agree on 80% of things. So again, we're back to that 80-20 perfection. Do we agree on 80% of things? Can we work very easily together on 80% of things? If the answer is yes, you're golden. If the answer is
expecting perfection. And a lot of you are like me. Well, I'm not a perfectionist, but I used to be when I was really young.
I'm a recovering perfectionist.
You are. You're much more than I am. A lot of you fuckers are way too perfectionist. And what is perfectionism? It's an excuse for inaction. Perfectionism is the Bible of the Lissig. Well, it's got to be perfect or I can't do it. Then you'll be poor the rest of your life. You'll be perfectly poor.
It's very easy to relinquish yourself to fear. It's so much easier than taking action. But that's where all the magic happens. So I'll remind you, the more you can let go of your perfectionistic tendencies, the more opportunity you give yourself to make a fucking move forward.
Right.
And it is as simple as that.
Yep.
Starting a business comes down to two things in my mind. You learn something and then you do something about it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty true. Yeah.
Does that mean I learn I suck at doing this and I should delegate it? Sometimes, yup. Do I learn that, oh shit, I'm the only person who understands this because it's in my head and I need to do it or explain this in a better way? Yup. You have plenty of examples too, Caleb. But I'm going to ask you, because when you and I came together, it was kind of out of the blue. We didn't know each other. We had no background. But we started working together in a very deep way very quickly, where you basically let me into your business and showed me everything, all of the moving parts and pieces.
Yep.
And I came in like a ginger ninja, and I made you delegate lots of stuff to lots of people. Yep. I asked you I even had you hire tons of people.
A lot.
So that you could do what? Delegate. So I'm wondering, first of all, notwithstanding the fact that I'm a chick, because it doesn't matter in this context, I'm brilliant. Caleb's brilliant. We see each other, and that's all that matters. But how does it feel to have somebody jump into your business and kind of take over the reins and have you sit back for a while?
I'm not like most people. I'm Malcolm Independent, so I was like, great, get this off my plate so I go make more money. But that's not as you know, that's not typical, right? You
What
said
do you
about me,
normally hear? What do
huh?
we normally hear from people? What normally
What I
happens?
just said. What if they whoa 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 whoa? What if they fuck it up? What if they steal my money? What if they piss off my clients? What if they post something bad on the internet? What if this? 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 Number or they can't do it as good. They're not gonna be able to do it. I do it like this. They're not gonna be able to do those two excuses. That's the two
Or
excuses.
I don't. The one that I run into, that I think is the people that are most locked, are the people who get started, then they panic and they say, "I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand what's
Oh,
happening, and I'm going to
sure,
just blow up and panic." Now it happens
sure.
very infrequently, but when it does, those are big. And you know the client that we had to fire a couple of times, and not allow into any
I
from
think so.
Boss
Yeah.
Cooperative. We cannot allow him to join any of your programs. I will not allow it, because that person imploded and then exploded. Right. So this can happen in many different ways. The most common, though, is the fear of somebody else taking your ideas, somebody else judging what you've put together.
Yeah, that's another one. What if they steal my ideas? What if they go into competition against me? What if they take all my ideas, start a new company? And what if this? What if this? What if this? It's all what ifs that virtually never happen in real life. Rarely. But
Or if it does, they can never replicate what you do. I'm so sorry. I hear this all of the time because I work with a lot of people in the like arts and crafts industries that do trade shows,
yeah.
or those stupid craft shows. Like I coach a lot of those people, and they all have that same mentality, like no pictures allowed. We have this booth set up outside, but you can't take any pictures. We're going to chase you off. We have signs up that say no pictures because people are going to steal my ideas. Good
I've been
Lord, are you
asked. Yeah,
like,
I've been
you're
asked.
so vain, because nobody really cares that much about you. If they
That's the
want to
main
make it,
thing.
they're
No one
going to
gives a
make
shit.
it.
Yeah.
If they want to
And
be a competitor, they're going to be a competitor. They can never replicate you. Could any of you in the audience replicate Caleb or myself? If the answer is no, and of course it's no, because we don't have any doppelgangers that we're aware of, then you don't need to worry about your ideas being stolen either. Because there are many
now,
different ways of sharing ideas and products and creating
right.
things.
One thing about that is, to be clear, Billy's right. This is the last thing you should be not worried about. And I teach outcome independence. You shouldn't care about this stuff anyway. Who cares? But if you get big enough, and most people who start a business will not get big enough because they don't want to be. But if you get big enough on the internet or in your space or in your industry or in your niche or whatever, people will steal aspects of what you do. I've had people steal from me.
Same.
I've had people set up blogs and copy my entire glossary, and and people say, "Well, you going to sue him? Well, you should sue him." No, who cares? I don't
Caleb,
give a shit because I'm making more money than all these people.
yeah, Caleb and I technically have competing products. Do
Not
you
really,
see
sort
us?
of.
Sort of. I mean, on a technical level, if looked from through certain lenses, they look similar-ish. But we understand what our own unique strengths and weaknesses, strengths are. I'm not going to say weaknesses because we don't have any. We work on those to get rid of them.
I don't have
But
weaknesses.
we understand what our strengths are, so we don't feel. I don't feel that you're a competitor, and you don't feel that I am one. We feel that we bolster one another. But from a broader view, we do the same thing.
I was just telling someone this a few hours ago. You might be here in the live stream and watch this video. I was coaching with somebody,
Here.
and Bill Gates, when he ran Microsoft back in the day, in like the 90s, his people were constantly coming to him and saying, "God damn it, China is ripping off everything we're doing. We publish this software, China just rips it off and gives it to millions of people, and they were all furious about this." And Bill Gates is like, "Whatever, I don't care." Like, how can you not care? How can you not? He said his famous quote is, "We will innovate faster than they can copy,"
Yes.
which is what Microsoft ended up doing. It's the third largest company in human history right now, so it worked. So don't worry about it. There's under no, if you're little and getting started, no one gives a shit. If you're big, they'll copy little bits and pieces. But if you keep doing their things, they can never be you. It doesn't fucking matter.
And they
And let
will
me get back to
never, they'll never understand your processes. They'll never understand your systems. They'll never understand who your vendor matrix, etc.
Right.
Fear
Right.
cannot stop you from delegating, because what that means is you've let the fear stop your company from growing. And I know at the end of the day, none of you want that. It means that the fear is stopping you from having freedom, whether that's building a business or not. And again, that's not living.
Correct. Now, let me address something that I've talked about before. If you're really familiar with my content, you've heard me say this many times. I'm going to say it again in a slightly different context. Well, what if they fuck up? In people in Business Builder have said this. Well, if I do consulting and I bring on vendors, what if they fuck it up and make my client, piss off my client? Oh no. Okay. I've said this 10,000 times. I'm going to say it again. You have seen me publicly fuck up all the time. I make mistakes this is my anti-Lissig rant. I make mistake after mistake after mistake. I'm making mistakes all over the place, and I make a shitload of money. And I live a fantastic life because I make mistakes. A lot of you don't ever make any mistakes, and you're stuck in your horrible 9-to-5 job, and you're stuck in your country, and your life sucks because you're too scared about making mistakes.
And hold on, you still get those shit performance reviews too that say you're a 3 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5, even though you're busting ass. You have the best sales of anyone in the company for 3 years running, and they're still never going to give you that 5, are they?
Right.
I think that's hugely important.
As an extension to this, you made me think of my new book, The Unchained Man. We're replacing it on Audible. We're doing that right now, so we have to take down the old version. But I wanted to save all the comments, and I had a whole bunch of comments on Audible. This is not Amazon, Audible, and I never looked at the comments because I'm Malcolm Independent. I don't care, but I did for the first time. This book's been out for 14 years, whatever. And I looked through them, and the vast majority are positive. And there's a few negative ones in there, and the negative ones didn't even make any sense. He said, this guy is defining alpha male 1.0 because of what his dad did. I'm like, no, my dad didn't do any of these things. Anyway, so I don't care. But my point was, you extend the thing where I make a lot of mistakes. Will your team make mistakes? Of course they will. They're human beings. That's fine. Now, usually, and I can tell you from experience, the mistakes the mistakes my team makes are always less serious than the ones I make. Always. Sure. I mean, I'm trying to think of an exception to that rule, but when everyone's on my team has made a mistake, it's something pretty minor. It's, usually the big mistakes in my company are made by me. That's the truth. I mean, I don't know how companies like that, but that's
I kind of like that too. And that's why we hire thought partners. So when we bring people in, Caleb didn't bring in like a receptionist when he hired me. He didn't say, I just need somebody to make this a little bit easier.
Right.
What he realized was that he needed to have a cleaner system to do things. And part of developing that cleaner system meant delegation. And the way we delegated was Caleb didn't just hand me a bunch of stuff, right? I jumped into the business and I learned how it worked. And then I helped him decide who the right people were, what the roles were that we could create and find the right people. But we kept the roles, in his case, very loose. So we kind of let people sort themselves, that they kind of got to separate themselves into the channels of their interest.
Right.
And then we capitalized on that by giving them sort of free reign to express themselves as people, not act as cogs, and have much of the same autonomy in their work that Caleb and I enjoy. My assistant, Muhammad, for example, has never had set working hours. He never will. He works when he wants to work. We have meetings.
No one on my team ever has.
No, never.
We're outcome independent business owners. We don't care what the hour is. We don't give a shit. I just want the work done. I don't care.
Exactly. Now, there are some businesses in which you can't get away with that in the same way. If you're doing real estate, if you're a contractor, there are some businesses where you can't do this.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine. But the idea is, by allowing yourself to get started in one way or another, and by allowing people to kind of filter themselves, you reduce the odds that they're going to fuck up or become disengaged or jump ship because they're unhappy for whatever reason. So that's the first thing I'd really like to say about putting the team together is don't think of these things. Don't think of these people as below you. They're not beneath you. These are the people that you are helping elevate to the same level as you. My
What we've
goal,
done, what we try really quick, what we tried to do, I read this in a book, or it's one of my people I work with. You don't delegate things, you elevate things,
yes,
because that's actually more accurate. Because the stuff you're delegating, you're giving to someone who's going to handle it better than you. And the importance of that is now you can do something even more important than what you were doing. So you're actually
exactly.
elevating it. You're not delegating it. You're actually, it's going up. So you don't want to, yeah, Billy's right. They're not peons. Thought partners is a good word. There's other words you could use. But anyway, I didn't interrupt you. Sorry about that.
It is. I think thought partners are just really easy to remember. So
Yeah.
when I came into the business too to help Caleb, it wasn't me bossing him around, because how would that go over? Come on, guys, really? I'm bossy, but even I can't unmove this uncarved block. So we had to find, we find a simple rhythm to work together. He didn't know if I would work out. He took the risk. And one of the first things I did when we started hiring people for your staff, for my staff, for other staffs, is okay, I'm fearful. One of these, it takes usually 3 to 5 hires to find a person that's a good fit. It's just the fact.
Rule of 3. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how many of you have dated? Did you marry the first person you dated?
You know what? Let me say one quick thing. I'm going to turn over to you to talk about finding people, because we got a lot of questions. One quick thing before we go into shift topics. We're moving into how to find people.
Sorry.
What if they fuck up and make mistakes? And I've told people this. Then you fix it. So you hire someone. I've had several people ask me this question. If I'm a consultant or I'm doing some sort of business service and I get my client, I bring in some vendors or whatever to help me out and to delegate this stuff. What if they fuck it up and piss off my client? Here's what you do, because this has happened to me, I think, twice in my life, where I had someone working on a client project and they fucked it up. Here's what you do. You say, I'm sorry, client. We'll fix it within 24 hours, and it gets fixed. The client goes, okay, thank you. Yep. That's it.
It's not
what
even
if they fuck up my website? Then you fix it. You fix it, and maybe it's fucked up for maybe 6 hours or 9 hours and no one sees it, and you fix it. You don't freak the fuck out that someone might make a mistake to fuck up your life. I've never had, and Billy is probably the same category, I've never had anyone working with me cause a mistake that cost me a shitload of money or a shitload of time or get me sued or something. It's never happened. Again, the biggest mistakes are ones I make, not they make. So you got to move on from this what if. Let's talk about, just for a few minutes, let's summarize this. We should do another podcast on how to find people and build a team. We'll do that. But I know this is going to be a question on people's minds. You want to overview the process of finding, admin level talent, technical talent, things like that, Upwork, and your overall procedure for how you would do that. And just keep it summarize like 5 to 7 minutes, and then we'll get to questions.
I'll try to be even faster than that. So I love Upwork because it's the largest platform in the world. I want to pull from the deepest pool that I can. I'm not going to piss around time by going, juggling platforms. Just go to Upwork. Choose a platform and stick with it. Yep. I will post a job, but when I post a job, I'm not trying to sound all professional and corporate and fancy. I'm just trying to be the real person that these folks are going to be working with and be led by. So I write my post in my speaking voice. And I'll say, are you going to be doing crap like this? Or, I'm really struggling with this crap. You know what I mean? I speak like a real person. I'm not giving you a list of the tasks that need to be done and saying, you must have this certification and that certification. I give 0 fucks. Caleb technically does not have a high school diploma. I certainly do not have a college degree. Those pieces of paper can be very useful and very beneficial, but in this circumstance, it isn't. It's not necessary for most 80-90% of work. Seriously.
Stupid.
So I post a job thinking that I want to find people who are curious, who want to learn, who are quick to learn, and aren't afraid to wear multiple hats. So basically, when I write my job post, that's exactly what I say. Hey, we're building this together. You and I are going to figure out over the first 6 months where exactly you slot into the business. But these are the key things I want to get started with that are important to me to get off of my plate. It's as simple as that. With the Upwork platform, you can ask people to submit videos, portfolios, anything you want. So if there are some documents, if I write a bunch of blog articles and I want to delegate that to this person, it's on my list of the top skills I need from this person, I'm going to ask them to submit show me a couple of blog posts from their portfolio from different clients, right?
Tell them your 2-minute video idea you had me do one time. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I kind of do, but I will have people make a 2-minute video just talking about themselves, their experience, and the magic questions that I always ask. Or my very favorite question is, if I gave you $100,000 in 30 days off, you may not save the money. What would you do with that time and money?
And you pointed out like the 2-minute video, you say things like, this is where you would we you and I talked about this a long time ago. You said it filters out people who can't follow instructions. So a 2-minute video, if it's a 4-minute video, you're out. I said 2 minutes. If you say, how do I film a video? You're out. You got to figure that shit out. And then, you just kind of give, and then that way you use the video to see their vibe and how they communicate. Because a lot you can see in a video that you can't see in a phone call or a resume or an Upwork thing. So it was a really good idea.
Well, what is their background like? Is it cluttered? Do you hear kids and buses and sounds in the background? Are they showing up for this video call with you in their pajamas? I mean, of course, I have my yoga pants on, but you can't tell that unless they tell you. Right. But if I were to show up in, a sweatshirt, you can tell. Right. So it shows you what they're able to put into things, what they choose to put into this interaction with you. It also shows you what their technology is like. Is their internet connection really slow? So their video is abominable. Is, do they understand how to use the Loom or whatever tool to make a video and send it as an attachment? I mean, it sounds pretty basic, but these are very simple screeners that you can put in place by asking for simple tasks or simple videos. It also helps if you are, let's say you're a non-native speaker yourself, dealing with an English-speaking audience, and you want your thought partner to be somebody who has better spoken English than yourself. That video is going to let you know what their spoken English level is, at least as a baseline. They may have practiced, etc., on the video, but it's at least going to help you understand, can I understand that person's spoken English? Or is that particular accent hard for me? It seems
when I hired
so important.
Really quick. When I was hiring telemarketers in my other company that I shut down during the pandemic, what I would do, and Upwork allows this for this, I don't care how you look. It's a telemarketing thing, but I need to hear your voice. So I said in the little, what do you call it, an ad? Whatever you put up for Upwork to look for jobs, for people to sign up to you. Posting. Put the posting. You can be anywhere in the world. I don't care where you live, but you can't have a super thick accent. You cannot talk like this on the phone. That's not going to work if you're doing phone sales. If you're doing other work, I don't care. But because I have a lot of people who have very thick accents in my business, I don't give a shit. But if you're doing phone sales, you have to have an accent that people understand. So I said, give me a 30-second clip of your voice. And in Upwork, there's a little thing where they can record a thing right to Upwork and you can play it. And so, like, I've hired women from the Philippines and somewhere else I remember. And they're Filipinos, born and raised, but they can mimic the American accent well enough you can't really tell. Great. So that's another variation of this. Plus, here's the other thing, my rule of 3. I don't know, and Billy could comment. You can comment on this, on how you feel about this. You mentioned this earlier. You make the assumption in advance, I've talked about this several times, that the first person you hire, you'll probably have to fire. Now, you may not, but you make the assumption when you hire someone, you're going to fire that person. So when you're on Upwork or anywhere else, any other model you're using, you don't hire one person, you hire 2. You hire the first one, and then you say this, or 3. You go to the second one and maybe the third one and say, look, I've chosen someone else, but my experience shows me that often they don't work out. So just stand by. You might be hearing from me in 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or whatever, and I'll hire you. Just stand by. And you're just like, oh, okay, great. And that now, when that person just doesn't work out the first 90 days, that's kind of the probationary period. And so instead of going, God damn it, this sucks, I got to hire someone, you already planned on it in advance. You go right to the second person. Now, sometimes you can be lucky. Billy was a first-time hire. I expected to have to fire Billy within 90 days because that was a pretty big job, but I got lucky with Billy. So sometimes you get lucky and the first person is amazing. Usually is not the case. Sometimes but often it's not. You assume the second or third person. By the way, this isn't just hiring people in your team. This is like if you're looking for an accountant, if you're looking for a bookkeeper, if you're looking for an attorney, if you're looking for a marriage therapist, anything in your life, someone that you'll be regularly, you always assume this person's probably not going to work. I got to go through 3 people, and the second or third person will be the person I end up working with.
And
you
3
make that
truly
okay.
is. 3 truly is the live number. That's why I like house hunting shows. 3 properties to choose from, right? 3 is the optimum number. So,
Yeah, 3.
as I was saying a bit earlier, when I tell these people I'm interviewing that I'm going to outline these tasks, these things I need to delegate or elevate, if we're being more astute in our language. I have a list. This is my core list. This needs to happen. Here's all the other stuff on my I wish list, and here's what the company's about. From here, you kind of sort yourself into what interests you and what is in your wheelhouse. But my trick is I always hire 2 or 3 people at the same time. Always.
Yeah,
Always,
you do
always,
that.
always. Because that investment is worth it to me to find out who's going to sink, who's going to swim. The reason I hired Muhammad is there were 3 people. One of them flaked out really fast within a couple of days. The other woman was doing okay, but Muhammad was getting frustrated with her. He's like, hey, listen, I see that so-and-so is working on this task, but it's not quite right. She omitted this. Can I just go and do it?
Cool.
So he took that as an opportunity to shine and continues to be that unicorn that I want to find solutions, who doesn't sit back and wait and say, I'm not sure what to do, so I'll do nothing.
But you hired 3 people at the same time? So
Yeah.
you literally hired 3 people? Because I know
Yes.
you've done that. So what
Yep.
Billy will do is even better than what I just said. Now, sometimes you have the resource to do this. She does. You hire 2 or 3 people. I know a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They hire 2 people for every job, and they just assume one's not going to cut it.
Yep.
But now Billy hired 3 people. Now, that's a pretty important position. That's why she did it. She hired 3 people, and then I assume you just watched and said, okay, I'm going to give them some tasks, see how they do.
Exactly that.
Right?
Hands off. I looked at the
Yeah.
outputs. I didn't send
Yep.
deliverables out without looking at them first and making changes, but I knew that that was going to be my work. That was my investment to get these people ready. But the other secret, and it shouldn't be a secret, but it's a question here from Harvey. How difficult is it to train those you delegate virtually? Caleb and I have the secret sauce, and that is that we have standard operating procedures for everything. So when I first met Caleb, he had what I can only visualize because it was online, a big fat binder of all the shit that he does in the business. Yeah, how the
Caleb
works.
operations manual. Yep.
And for him, it was a big, big, big Google Doc, a huge running, I don't know if it was a Google Doc, whatever it was, a huge, huge running document of everything. And he'd just keep updating it whenever he made changes and thought of it. He would make changes. In his case, he's a CEO. He can't be doing that, especially as the business grows. So the thing that I had him do was to create individual standard operating procedures for every granular task. Now, what does that mean? That means, as an example, I give him some of my little library of SOPs I'd already written because, for example, Caleb uses Gmail to communicate. So his team has to have a Gmail address. If we hire someone onto the team, how do we set up the Gmail address? We have an SOP for that. You literally click on a document that tells you how to do it. So do we have to train someone to do that? No, never. All they have to do is find the document.
Here's the SOP.
Yep.
Right.
You're a new hire that needs to set up the signature in your email. I don't need to sit and tell you how to do that. There's a document, right? That it's that easy. So for every granular thing, and this is why I'm wearing my fancy tiara, for everything on as granular, tiny a level as possible, you break those out into standard operating procedures with clear instructions. And what's even better these days versus the ancient history when Caleb and I started working is this doesn't have to be paper. It used to have to be pieces of paper that sat by machines in offices and in manufacturing facilities, etc.
Yeah.
Now it's all digital. So it's done. Exactly. It can be done instantly. And here's the next trick. So we break it down to every granular piece having its own SOP. Then we use tools like Scribe, which does screen captures of every click that you make, and it gives you a document that you can annotate with notes. So you can literally walk someone through click by click in that visual way. Or we use something like Loom, which is a screen capture tool. So I can be in the bottom corner of your screen, showing you my screen, showing you the step-by-step of everything I need to do to complete a task. So I can record that once as I'm learning to do something, right? I've learned how to do it. I'm pretty sure I've got it dialed. I'm going to make my SOP, and then I'm going to hand it off to someone. And that's exactly what we did for every element of Caleb's business. He and I would write the SOPs and hand it off to a new hire or an existing team member. And they would test it. Now, were we telling them they were testing it? No. We were saying, hey, listen, I'm going to hand this over to you. Let me know if you have any questions. But starting now, this is your gig. They have all the resources to hand. And it's up to them at that point, whether they sink or swim. It's not up to you. You don't have to babysit. You don't have to keep coming back. As it gets more technical, the more SOPs there should be for that function or that role, right? Especially if it's very technical, it's important that we don't miss a single tiny component, not one, right? It becomes so much more important. So
I'll give you a great example of that.
Success by not capturing every tiny detail. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm now in the habit of, and I don't like doing it, but if you want to make money, you got to do this. Whenever I do something new, I ask myself, will I or anyone in the business ever have to do this task again? If the answer is yes, I force myself to do a Loom video. And I have Loom always active. I just click it, hit screen record. I have a microphone right here, and I go, okay, this is how you blah, blah, blah. And I go, blah, 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 blah. Boom, and it's there. And we add it to our little SOP thing in our base camp.
Doesn't that just warm your heart, you guys?
Yeah.
It makes the business so proud because now it's out of your plate.
Right. And I can just, I can say, Joe, Larry, Bob, do this. Here's the SOP link. And I don't have to train a goddamn thing.
Now if we go a step further.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, let me give you the ultimate example. I just published a new book, the new version of The Unchained Man, traditionally published. So you have to use a publisher. I use Ingram Spark. Then you have to get it on Amazon. Then you have to submit it to Audible. Then you have to, before that, you have to typeset the book. You got to submit typesetting shit. You have a special cover. You have to, there's 1,000 things you got to do when you publish a book, 10,000 things. And historically, I've done those things. Stupid. I should not be doing those things. So I'm about to publish another book right after that one. And then another one right after that one, the one I haven't published yet. So I'm not going to do this shit anymore. My guy Osher is going to do it. So what I did is I Loomed video every aspect of this. You think that's a complex technical process to publish a book? Yeah, there's like 8 different segments, and each segment, there's the ACX stuff, then there's the how do you format the audio files for Audible, and then how do you submit it? And every screen in Ingram Spark, when you submit the book, how do you get the ISBN number? Blah, 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 blah. I fucking Loomed every goddamn step because I am never doing this again. So for now, next time I publish a book, I can just write the book, which is the part I'm good at, the part I like doing, and I just hand it to my team, and it's done. I have to do a goddamn thing. You only do it once. So it doesn't matter how complex the system is for it.
Then Caleb and I go a step further, guys. This is the dirt, so lean in. We cross-train our staff using those SOPs.
That too. Yeah.
So anytime a new person comes in, maybe it's Joe Schmo who's doing accountability for coaching sessions or for one of the 90-day business builder. Let's say it's Jeff is the 90-day business builder coach. He's cross-training someone else on the team to do everything he can do. The way he's doing that is by sharing the SOPs. If the SOPs do not work, Jeff, for example, is the owner of that SOP, so he must fix it, bring it up to date, revise it. So we have a constant testing system in place because we cross-train. And when we're on vacation or leaving, whatever, we expect other people to pick up that slack because we know that they have the resources available to them. It is impossible to fuck it up if you follow the steps. That simple. And if we have that fail-safe in place where someone is constantly testing, certainly at least 2 or 3 times a year that your SOPs are still good, still functional. And you as a business owner, boop, absolved of that responsibility. Your team gets to do that now. You're done.
That's awesome.
You did your part.
And again, really quick, Billy, and we got to do a quick announcement. We'll go to questions. Billy made a really good point. The individual team owners own the SOPs. So I have an operations manager. The SOPs he uses, he owns those. So if they're wrong, if later I see they're wrong, it's his ass. So that means that individual owner has to update the SOP. Sometimes screens change and shit changes. You have to make a new Loom video or update or put a note on the Loom video or on the, what was the thing? What was the other? I don't use the service.
Scribe is the one that I use a lot. Scribe, right. SCRIBE.
Right, Scribe. So you could put a note on there or you could put a note sometimes in the Basecamp, say, hey, the video says this, you actually do this. That's good enough. As long as they're constantly updated, then you're good. And the team owner owns them. You don't, as the CEO, you don't own them. That doesn't work. The team owns them. And you're not just delegating the function, you're also delegating the SOP itself.
Yep.
Which is a really good distinction. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Like the functionalities that I learned how to do when I first jumped into Caleb's business, because I needed to know what was what. I don't know. I have no idea how to do those now. No idea. They've evolved. Right. The tools have upgraded. I have no idea. But guess what? I don't need to know. You don't need to know. But what you need to do is create that ethos in your business. And I consider it like a project management ethos, where you just document everything. If it's not documented and in our, whatever our repository for knowledge is, in Caleb's case, it's Basecamp. If it's not in that repository, it didn't happen. It doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. But that's your job. You create that ethos. Nobody else in your business can do that for you. And then it's golden. You don't have to train. You don't have to retrain. You don't have to feel like you're experiencing the failure work and that disappointment that comes with, having to let a hire go because they're not working out, right? It is kind of that punch in the gut that says, oh shit, I just put 50 hours in the last 2 months into training Bob and now he's gone. You can remove those problems entirely. And that's how I've made almost all of my money. I'm not joking. It's teaching people how to create standard operating procedures and a project management business ethos. It's that easy.
And I can tell you as a business consultant with, almost 30 years of experience now, one of the biggest reasons that traditional business owners don't fire shitty employees, because that's an epidemic in the business world. They know they're shitty, but they don't fire them. They go, well, if I fire them, I got to spend 3 months training a new person. I don't want to do that. Yeah, because you have no SOPs, dumbass. Yeah, what the hell are you doing? If that's an excuse, you're a shitty business owner if that's your excuse. And that is the standard excuse.
It is.
What's really funny is
98% of businesses, 98% of the businesses I've worked with fall into that category. It doesn't matter what the industry is, what the country is. It is the most common. Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Of all size. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Those of you who have jobs, if you still have a job, that's unfortunately a lot of you, start your own location independent business. Please join Business Builder. Stop. Get rid of your fucking job. What are you doing? But anyway, those of you who have jobs, this is a truism. When you have a job, and ask this of yourself when I say this, whenever you ask an employee in a company, or let's say you secretly ask 10 employees in a given department or group, is there like 1 or 2 people who like really fuck everything up? Or is everyone perfect? They will all name the same 1 or 2 people. So including you, if you have a job, who in your department is the fuck up, right? Or the person who shouldn't be there, or the boss's cousin, or she's screwing the boss's whatever, right? So everyone fucking knows, but the reason those people stay there is because the boss doesn't want to fire them because they don't have SOPs. These things set you free. Like when I like to create content. So when I write a blog post, this is the case now, and it's the case since day one. I write the blog article, I do the images, and I send them to my team, and that's all I do. Someone else sets up the blog post, does all the SEO, sets up the image, gets the newsletter version formatted. I don't have to do a goddamn thing. So it frees me to do the work that I'm really good at. So this stuff may sound like a lot of work, and initially it is, but then it sets you free to do whatever you want.
But that's why freeing. That's just why you come to the Business Builder or get some individual coaching from Auntie Billy, because we'll help you out, because we know what those pitfalls are and how many people fall into them. And I would say that Harvey, if you're looking at the chat, guys, Harvey has a nice little summary that says it. So you have SOPs, we cross-train for redundancy, and when we bring in a new hire, we use the SOP and go to the person who is cross-trained. Exactly. Yep.
Right.
So let's scroll up a little bit. Harvey had another question that I think would be great to answer
wait,
right now.
Well, is it on topic? I also want to wait a sec. Is it on topic?
Well, it
Okay,
is on topic because this is about telephones. He asked what we use for a phone number. So I use a VoIP. Most of us do. The one that I use is called Talk Route. So I can do talk and texting to anywhere in the world. It's $20 a month.
Voice. Yeah.
I mean, use whatever you want. There are tons of them out there. I like Talk Route because it's really easy and it has a lot more functionality than Google Voice does. So I can set up the phone tree that says, thank you for calling Boss Cooperative. For Billy Olds, press 1. And I can set up the call forwarding so it goes to different phones in a different sequence or goes to different voicemail boxes, whatever. But for 20 some bucks a month, awesome, awesome tool. I have Muhammad uses that a lot because he's based in Pakistan. So if he wants to get through to someone here, it's much easier for him using an American number. You can choose the telephone number and the location from which your number originates.
Correct.
In any of these systems.
You can choose the country and choose the number based on where your niche is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're selling to people in France, you want a French phone number. If you're selling to people in the United States, choose. If you're selling to the whole world, it doesn't really matter. I default to the United States because people trust, unfortunately, the United States phone number. So if you're selling to planet Earth, get an American phone number. It's fine. A Canadian one's okay.
Here's why this is relevant. Caleb, what do you use for your mail? Do you get mail at your house?
I do not. You set me up.
What is that?
Earthclassmail.com. So now it's called something else, but
yeah, I don't know what it's called now. I use a different one now because mine is in South Dakota with my address and things. I kind of transitioned a bit. But the first thing we did for one of the first things we did for Caleb to stop getting mail because Alexis or Pink Firefly was physically opening mail and taking care of some of that stuff for Caleb.
Right.
Now we have some people, I don't know where they are, don't care, that open our mail, they scan it for us, and we get an email that says we have mail. It's easy. Same with the phone messages. A painful lesson that I learned because it was so counterintuitive is stop answering your phone. If you haven't heard that in the back, stop answering your phone.
I don't answer my phone. My phone's silent all day. That's a whole big other topic. My phone's silent all day. I don't answer my phone. That's stupid.
But for me, that's delegated to a technology. And then I can decide whether I'm going to follow up with those emails or with those voicemails and with those phone calls, or if my staff is going to do it. The same with the email or the physical mail that comes. I can batch that now once a week because I'm not walking to a mailbox to get something. And if there's something I need forwarded, they'll just send it to my house. That easy, right? But I've taken that burden of responsibility off of myself and off of others by essentially just automating it.
Yeah, if you're actually opening your own email, you're doing this wrong. Now, you can level to this. My operations manager checks my online Earth Class mail.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't even do anything unless it's an urgent thing, like a scary thing from the bank or something. He'll say, hey, is this important? Usually I say, no, just shred it. So he manages all that, just like he manages my email. I don't do shit.
But there's another layer to that too, guys, is that the people who are managing our email and those notifications put everything in Basecamp, our project management tool.
It's all in one place. Exactly
not
right.
In one place, it didn't happen.
All in one place. You don't want mail and email and texting and this and that. You want it in one place. So for me, that's Basecamp. Everything goes in there. Like Billy said, if it doesn't come through Basecamp, it doesn't exist.
That's the reason. That is the other reason so many business owners are up to their necks in shit, can't delegate.
Right.
Could even imagine sitting down to make SOPs because they're wasting their time doing things that they shouldn't. If you need to answer your phone, great, but do it, respond to calls. Set up an autoresponder that sends out a text, and you sit down and you do your calls all at one time. You batch it.
Right. Match it.
It's
correct.
We're just using our simple time management strategies. But the important thing is we don't have to search. We don't have to guess where the information might be. So it makes it a whole lot easier to follow up on where are we in the process. Has Susie communicated with Bobby? Well, if everything's in project management, I can go look. I have no delays. I don't need to ask anyone. I don't need to guess where it is, and I don't need to search. Everything is there. So again, it's that project management ethos tied into your standard operating procedures that make all of the magic really come together. And automations are your friend.
Correct. Let's do a quick announcement that is very important. You guys need to listen to this because I know I'm going to get complaints about this next week. So listen very carefully what I'm about to say, and then we will do questions. So hang on. Let me share my screen because I know my audience.
I'm going to put my ear trumpet on. Hold on a second here.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Good.
Excellent. So
it's Good
for those of you who didn't come to Cancun, you silly asses, you sure missed out. I made sure to bring everyone I don't know how to open this one. Why is it not going? A hurricane-proof
hat. Those just stay on your head?
Yeah. It's a hurricane-proof umbrella hat because you know you're cool when you have one of these.
Yeah, put it on your head. So that, you showed me the picture.
I have awesome. I have my tiara on, so
it doesn't fit.
Does it really fit with the tiara? And umbrella I did not give the guys rainbow ones. I gave them like camouflage and solid colors because I love them.
All right. Listen, the immersion event where you could get to download all the videos of me being live for 12 hours a day for 4 days in the first or second week. I think it's November 8th.
8th, yeah.
This is the last several days you can sign up for this. So the deadline is November 4th, and I know it's going to happen. I'm going to get guys email me. I didn't know, I missed it. Can I get the videos of it? No. November 4th. So if you want in on this, and I've also added some things to this. So if you're not aware, and you should be aware, I've been talking about this for months. This is where I'm going to live stream my entire life, my business life, my personal life, everything for 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, 4 days in a row, excuse me. And you'll be on the live stream, and I'm going to explain every little thing I do, and you can ask me questions as I go along. So it's like getting coaching from me for 4 days straight. If you can't attend the live stream, because I am in Dubai time zone, when the live stream is over after those 4 days, you can download all the videos. They're yours forever. Cool. It's an immersion thing. So it's remote. You have to be anywhere, obviously. 4 days, 12 hours a day. My personal life, too. You will see people I'm with. You will see women I'm with. You'll see people I work with here. You'll see my friends here. You'll see all that shit, everything. You'll see how I work, how I operate my multiple companies, how I manage my investments, how I manage my time, the templates I use. I'm going to show you everything, just about everything. I can't show you literally everything for legal reasons, but you got my point. Every time I do something, I'm going to stop and pause and explain what I'm doing. Like when I do cash analysis in the morning. Okay, I'm doing my cash analysis. Here, this is the way I do it is I show you I don't just do it. I explain it. When I sit down to write 2 hours of writing my next book, I show you my methodology and how I do that, how I manage my time, how I plan my week. I made this over a weekend. I plan my weeks every Sunday. So I'm going to show you all that. All these things. You see all this stuff I've never shown before. If you can't attend the live stream, the entire live stream, because I realize you're probably busy and have things to do, you can download all the videos, 48 hours of video. Okay, I hope you have a lot of hard drive space. You download it all when that's after I'm done. So let's see, the 8th to the 11th. So November 12th, you'll be able to get the video. Okay. Let's see. Bonuses. Here's what I'm throwing in. This is something new that one of my marketing guys wanted me to add to this. I didn't want to do it, but it was actually a really good idea.
I didn't even know about this one. Cool.
Yeah, this is brand new as of yesterday. I'm throwing this in. I'm going to throw in, after the live streams are done, I'm going to send you all the templates that I use for all the things that I do. For example, these are just a few of them. I have a template I've set up. I've never shown this to anyone or given this to anybody. This is not in any of my books or courses. This is what I do for me. Exactly how I plan my day every night before I plan it. Every night I plan the following day. I have a very specific template and system how I use it. I'm going to send you the template so you can do it yourself. How I plan my week. This is not E3D. This is something a little more advanced. I'm going to give you the entire template of how I plan my entire week. I just did it yesterday, right? Today, Monday? Yes. So Sundays, I plan my week. I'm going to give you the template how I do that. My stretching routine. I'm old. And as soon as you're over 40, suddenly you get all stiff. So this is more alpha male 2.0 stuff. I'm going to give you my entire stretching routine that I have worked with lots of experts on, especially if you sit in a chair most of the day, which most of you do. I'm going to give you actually the PDFs, the pictures, the videos. I'm going to give you all that stuff. So this is not just business stuff. This is my whole life. How I track my investments. because he asked, how do you track your investments? I'm going to give you I have several spreadsheets on how to track all my investments. I'm going to give you the templates for all those, not my investments, the template. Cash management templates. I'm going to give you those. There's a whole bunch of them I'm going to give you. You get them all after the videos are done on the 12th. I'm just going to, this part of the deal. So you can actually do these things yourself, or you can modify them based on your life, because you're probably not exactly me, but these are done for you so you can do them without you having to do it yourself. Done for you templates. Next thing, and Billy's right here. You get a 2-hour coaching session, business coaching session with her. Billy is kind of expensive. What is your current rate right now per hour, Billy, for coaching one-on-one?
$197.
Okay, so that's $400. You get that for free. And you can schedule that next 2 months anytime you want. Business coaching, time management coaching, anything Billy can help you with. I'm throwing that in for free. You get it. And it's on me because I'm paying her. So there you go. So that's, if you do this yourself, $400, throwing that in. Also, I've mentioned this before, you get $1,000 off if you want to join Business Builder at any time in the next 6 months. You get $1,000 off Business Builder, or if you've already done Business Builder or you want to do something else, you can apply that to something else. It doesn't last forever. There's a time limit on it, but it's $1,000. So it's like getting $1,000 off this program.
Cool. I know that Jeff and I have been badgering him for that one for a while. That is huge, and I'm really excited about it. Awesome.
Right. This was $8,000 because I was going to make it an in-person thing, but I realized most people didn't want to fly to Dubai. I charge $2,000 when I do masterminds for about 7 hours in a group setting. I charge $5,000 for one-on-one coaching. That's the cheapest price you can get me for one-on-one coaching. That's for 5 sessions. So it's $1,000 a session. So if you do the math on this, you get me for 48 hours, up to 48 hours. It's like $48,000 of coaching, and it's less than $3K. Your hard deadline is November 4th at midnight. As of this recording, that is exactly 1 week from today. And I'm not going to hear it. Then I know I'm going to get them. Well, I didn't know. No, you got 1 week to sign up for this. Now, something else. I thought it's important to be honest with you guys about this. I realized that I might have dug myself into a little hole about this. This is why I'm probably not going to do this again. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm definitely not going to do it again. If a bazillion people sign up for this, maybe I'll do it again, but probably not. And here's why. I've realized, I didn't realize this till a few weeks ago when I sat down and like pretended as if someone was watching me. I have to stop and explain everything I'm doing for 12 hours a day. That's going to really fuck up my productivity. It's okay. I'll do it for you. But that's why I'm probably not going to do this again 4 days straight, not just in my personal, not just my business life, but like when I go lift weights, when I'm with various people in my life, I'm going to stop and explain what I'm doing. It's going to kind of murder me for 4 days. I'll do it, but I realize shit. So also I've already had several awkward conversations with people in my life, in my personal life and in my business life. And these aren't just women. These are friends too. Hey, by the way, when I see you on this day, I'm going to have a camera pointed at me and you, and a bunch of people will be watching us. No, I don't care. I'm not going to pin it, but like,
that's a hard sell for most people.
Yeah. People are like, what? So what? So who are these people?
Well, yeah, let's be honest. Like, they have to be pretty brave to be willing to do this with you.
They are. I have brave people in my life. I have some kick-ass people in my life who you will meet if you join this service. Because I advertised, people in my personal life other than Pink Firefly? No, but you will in this. I'm also have to carry around multiple phones because I can't use my phone to live stream because I'm going to be using it. So I need another phone. And then if I have to, do something, I got to set it up on a tripod and carry that around everywhere. And it's going to be a fucking nightmare. So I'll do it. But I'm saying I'm probably never doing this again. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm probably not. This is going to be a fucking hassle for me. I'm willing to do it for you guys. I'm cool with this, but I'm probably not doing this again. Plus, I think I'm undercharging for this. That's the other issue. I think I'm undercharging. Should be a lot more than this. If you get me for 4 fucking days, it should be a lot more than it is. So, hard deadline, November 4th, midnight EST. I am probably never doing this again. Okay? So, www.caleb.top/shadow. Let me say that again if you're listening to the podcast. www, and you have to type www. It's a Kartra thing. www.caleb.top/shadow. Go there. Your deadline is November 5th. Yes, you can download all the videos if you can't make it. That's okay. And lastly, I cannot take 1 billion people. There are limited spots. I haven't decided what that number is, but I can't have 100 people on the live stream. asking me questions constantly. That's going to be unworkable.
That would be
So
fun.
at some point, that'd be nice. I'd like to take your money, but I can't do it. So, because it wouldn't be a good experience for you or me. So at some point, if enough people sign up, I'm going to have to cut this off and say, even before the deadline, if a bunch of people sign up the next few days, which will happen because you guys like to wait the last minute, which is fine. That's how it works. It's human nature. I may have to say, Monday is the deadline. I may have to say Wednesday or Thursday. Hey guys, sorry, I can't take anymore. There's too many people signed up and I can't have, 87 people ask me questions on a live stream for 12 hours. There's just no one would be able to get service. So be aware of that. So in other words, if you want to do this, do it right now. Don't wait. You will be regretting it because people always regret it when they don't sign up for this. And unlike other things, well, I might do this again in 6 months, or I'm probably never doing this again. I can't imagine me doing this unless something weird happens.
Knowing how introverted you are, Caleb, I'm so impressed that you put together 48 hours of footage.
Yeah.
That
it's going to be exhausting
your
for
life
me
this
mentally.
way, because this is, when we do things in person, you need your recharge and you need to shut down. So this is,
I do.
I mean, I think
I won't get it for 4 days.
Yeah, that's something we need to really address too here. And your business bounty will do that. Like, this is going to take an emotional and energy toll that is different than what somebody who's really extroverted would experience, which I think makes it even more special because we introverts don't open that door very often. So I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are too.
Sure.
Don't miss out. That way we can eat popcorn together and exchange notes.
And you could make fun of me when I'm visualizing, like I just did my stretching routine a few hours ago, and you guys will see me like stretching, and then you'll see my stomach. I'll be like, yeah, see my sexy 6-pack abs. I'm writhing around the floor, doing these stupid stretches. You'll see me in all kinds of compromising positions, just not sexually because that'd be illegal. But you get my point.
And gross. But thanks, Caleb. Thanks. We appreciate
well, good thing I'm okay. I'll come independent. I don't care. You guys can see whatever you want. That's fine. You'll see all kinds of shit. I mean, some of the stuff I'll have to like pause the camera and mute things, obviously. I mean, if I go to the bathroom, you can't see that. So, you understand. But
yeah,
you're going to see all kinds of shit I've never seen before. I've never shown anybody.
So. No, you're very private. You're a very private guy in some ways. You're very
in some ways I am,
things, but you're very guarded with your time. So
I'm guarded with my time.
Pretty special.
Yeah. That's why I'm probably not doing this again. This is going to murder my time management productivity those 4 days. I'm not expecting to get a lot of shit done because I'll be talking to you guys, which is fine. I'm willing to do it. It'll be interesting to do at least once because then I've had other people, some of you in my audience have encouraged me to do this. You've asked me, and I have other people who are like me who've done this and their audience really liked it. And some of you have told me, at least 3 of you have mentioned to me, you did this with some other people and that's where you learned the best stuff. Because some of you have told me you learn the most stuff from someone on an immersion thing than you do if you read their book. Read their book, you get a lot of stuff, their courses, that's good. But the best shit is when you watch them work. You guys have told me that because I've never been a client of an immersion program. I've never done it before. I've never been a client of it. So.
As an ADHD girl, that would be something really tough. I wouldn't enjoy that in real time. It would
it's a personality thing. Well, at least this is a live stream. You could pause it. Like I said, too, if you're not on the live stream, just download the videos and you can do whatever you want with them.
I love that the live streams can be paused.
Yeah. I'm going to have to pause certain moments. Yes. Right.
And rerun.
Let me see. Questions. I'm scrolling back up to the top here. What was your net worth after your divorce? Did gold liquidation affect that? I don't remember, and I wouldn't tell you if I did remember because I kind of keep these things quiet. It wasn't very much. I had a lot of debt when I was going through my divorce. That was 2007. Yeah, God knows. I don't know. It wasn't very much. In 2007, I remember I lost a lot of money. So I talked about this in my books. In the global financial crisis, I lost 60% of my income in 3 months. The only reason I was able to survive is because I had multiple companies and that's what carried me through that crisis. And then I got divorced and lost a pile of money but yeah, I don't remember. Caleb said, if you don't find a problem, help the businesses make more money or cut costs. No, I said make more. Cutting costs is making more money. What I said is if you can't find a problem, most niches, not all, an easy way to do it is how do you teach them how to get more customers and or how to hire more people or better people. Those are the 2 needs that most companies have. Would an AI voice agent be a good idea to cut costs of employees answering the phone or to take appointments? Not really.
No.
That is not very exciting to me because if you have to educate your niche as to why to do something, it's not a good thing to do. Because if you say, most people are just saying AI, well, how would that work? Now you got to educate them on why they should buy from you. Not good. Not good at all. Find a problem they already have and help them solve that problem.
And there are so many scheduling tools out there. It's just a matter of teaching people how to use them and which ones work, how to monetize it, etc. I would never, in that case, I would be very rarely would I be inclined to have something AI, unless you're a plumber who's out in the field, in which case I would probably set up a chat script for text backs. My phone rings, I get an automatic text back that says, hey, I'm in the field working, but I'll be back in the office tonight at 6 o'clock and I'll give you a call. Right.
But even then, the plumber has to say to you, that's a problem he's having and it's driving him crazy. You don't want to sit there and educate him. Hey, plumber, you know what you should do is this. You don't want to be in that position where, and that's something you should, when you're looking at your niche or starting your business, repeat that over and over again. If I have to educate the prospect as to why they would want to buy my thing, I shouldn't sell it. Because a lot of you, again, are very technical and very smart. You have all these cool ideas. But if you have to explain it to a prospect on the phone or on a website why they need it, it's that much more difficult for you to make money. No business have I ever had to sit down and explain to you why you need it. Because I'm here solving a problem you already have.
Same.
Yeah. Do you believe 90-day Business Builder is the best way to get out of your 9-to-5 job? I believe it is the best way to get out of a 9-to-5 job for the typical average person. If you're an extraordinary super genius, maybe you don't need it. But if you're the average person and the average newbie, yes. Because we show you how to do things that are only going to make you money within 90 days. And most people start companies, it's going to take them a year to make any money. I'm going to write an ebook, or I'm going to do a SaaS business. Good luck. That's going to make years for you. I'm going to start a blog. It's going to take forever to make money. Right.
Yeah.
So yes. So
well, you also get access to people that you haven't even met yet. So it's not just Caleb. It's me. It's Jeff, the accountability coach. It's Gary and Jan and Peter. And we have a huge cast of coaches that are there to help you with all of their specialties. So, and what's even more valuable, I know Caleb brings this up often, about 60% of the value of programs like this, and ours in particular, is the community that you form.
Right.
And the guys who are with us in Cancun, the guys who are with us in Business Builder that are on this call, will definitely tell you this. It's
the things you learn from the other people in the program with you, because you'll have 100 other people who all have their own sets of experiences. You'll learn things from people in the program you won't learn from any of the coaches. And that's true with any program like this. So you get it's almost like an extra double bonus for free, because you're going to learn shit from them. You're not going to learn from us. Yeah.
Plus, there are parts of the curriculum we didn't even have, we had it in the curriculum, but we have some Coach Jan, for example, who gives free Saturday sales coaching calls to help you with your cold outreach. We have Peter who do a similar call for accountability, just with the members in the group to stay in contact and to have those resources that they need from each other, because we are very often islands as entrepreneurs, trying to do everything ourselves, surrounded by people who don't really understand what we're doing. So huge benefit of the program for me, as well as for the other participants, is just having that new networking community.
I've heard conflicting advice about sharing important goals. Some say you should tell people, while others argue it's detrimental. Which perspective is correct? They are both correct. It depends on your scenario. So if you live in a house with a bunch of super negative asshole people, and I know some of you are in that scenario, you don't want to tell them, I'm going to start my own Alpha 2.0 business. I'm going to make $100,000 a year. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to move to Costa Rica. They're going to say, oh, fuck you. And it's going to cause all kinds of chaos. However, there are other scenarios where if you tell people a certain set of goals, now you have more motivation to do it because you don't want to look stupid.
Yep.
So it depends on the scenario. I'd have to know more about your scenario, the goals, but so the answer is it depends. So like maybe close people to you who are not a-holes, but if you told them what you're going to do, it would make you look bad if you didn't do it. That might be a good reason to tell people your goals.
That's why I think join an accountability group, join Business Builder. You join a group that will hold you accountable that way, because that extrinsic pressure is really valuable, especially if you're someone like me who has ADHD, and I can suffer from executive dysfunction and getting shit started. Like, it's a crazy thing. I want to get it done. It's not happening. I'm not making myself do it. Um, this way, set myself up for greater success.
You've said that some free info, free drip when doing cold calls. You've said some free info, free drip when doing cold calls for clients. No, I did not say that. You're misunderstanding. Should the first call be, hey, I have some free info that might benefit your team? No, you misunderstood me. Free information drip is your social media free content / newsletter content. I have a lot of it. This is part of my free, this podcast / live stream is my free information drip. This is free. Right now, no, I do not make cold calls and say, hey, you want to read my blog? No, what that does is that it helps. It does two things. One is it helps attract organic customers to you. So you make less cold calls, have to run less ads. Number one. Number two, even more importantly, it solidifies your existing customer base. I have, and you could ask other people in my industry, I have one of the best audiences of any, whatever you want to call me, influencer, guru, public figure, internet person in the industry, one of the best. And this is not my opinion. This is the amount of stuff you guys buy and the amount of trust you have for me, because I've spent the last 15 years building this up. I didn't just come out of nowhere 2 years ago like a lot of people did. So the reason for that is I give you, as you guys know, lots and lots of free good content that teaches you things. I don't charge any money for it. So that's what your drip does. It helps you improve sales, new sales from new cold people, and then repeat sales from warm people. It's not for you to sell on the phone. It's not the
point. No, this is how you start developing the know, trust, and like that is required to make the sale.
Right. How do you wrestle being a young guy, early to mid-20s, with selling your consulting services? That's exactly what I did. I was in my mid-20s. I'm thinking I'm young. A company might not take me seriously. I was making a 6-figure income in 1990s dollars, which is a lot more money if you adjust for inflation than it is today, when I was 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 years old. And I have a baby face. So when I was in my 20s, I looked like a little kid, especially when you wear a suit and tie. People don't wear ties anymore. But back then you wear a tie, I really look like a little kid. I look like one of those Mormon missionaries, those little, guys in their 20s where they're wearing the ties and they're on the, that's what I look like. I look like a fucking moron. People do not care how old you are if they know you could help them solve their problem. And I was selling something that was solving people's problems, networking problems, which was very common in the 90s. So I didn't have to sell very hard. If they think you can solve it, they don't care how old you are. There's a percentage that do. It's the same thing with those of you who are Black or Asian or Hispanic, those of you who are women.
Girls.
There's a small percentage of people who do give a shit about that. Yes. It's a small percentage that if they can see that you can help them solve their problem, they don't care. The vast majority. Were there 1 or 2 a-holes that commented about my age? Yes, there were 1 or 2, and I made $100,000 plus anyway. So it doesn't matter. Proceed.
Yep, he's exactly right. No excuses.
Yeah, proceed. It's not an excuse. It just isn't. If LinkedIn prospecting will be hard since my profile represents my company, I am doing cold calls currently. What's another free marketing method for consult?
Do you have a website?
Well, you're doing cold calls. Your question makes no sense. You're doing cold calls. That's nothing to do with LinkedIn. I wouldn't worry about it.
He's using LinkedIn. He's making cold calls, but not using LinkedIn to source that, or not using LinkedIn directly for that communication.
But then I don't understand his question. So I don't understand your question and reword it. I understand your question, because just don't worry about your LinkedIn. Keep doing your cold calls. Facebook also works. Facebook works for business stuff. Facebook works well.
If you're short of leads, I'm not sure if that's your question, but this sounds more like you need to develop more leads. And yes, that's when you use a scraper. That's when you buy a list.
Get a scraper. Yep, scrapers. We talk about that BizBuilder a lot. Scrapers are awesome. Use a scraper.
And cheap.
Yep. If I understand 5 flags correctly, you jump from country to country without surpassing the amount of days needed to pay tax. No, absolutely not. That is the opposite of 5 flags, except country is 0. Okay, no. What you're describing is being a digital nomad, which is fine for younger people. If you're over 35, you're not going to want to live that lifestyle. If you're in your 20s, sure. I would do that if I was 25. I'm not 25, so I'm not doing that. No, it's the opposite. 5 flags means you live outside the collapsing West. You have long-term legal residency where you live. So you don't have to worry about things like visas. And in terms of taxes, yes, you either live in a territorial tax country or you live in a country that taxes you very little, or you can have 2 homes like I do, Paraguay and Dubai. So, well, that doesn't really apply to me. It would apply more to my son, Josh. My son, Josh, lives in Mexico half the year and Thailand half the year. So neither one of them tax him. So he has two flags instead of 1. It's not running around the planet Earth before your visa runs out or no one can tax you. That is a form of international lifestyle that is not 5 flags. And again, that is only for people who are young. I'm telling you, if you're more than 35, some guys think, oh, I'll just do this the rest of my life when they're 27. You won't want to do that when you're 35, 40, 45, 56. You won't want to live that life. You want to settle. So yeah.
I want to back up just a little bit to something that you said about younger guys. And that is the one thing to be careful of when you're a young guy is not to be an obnoxious puppy. What do I mean by that? So when you're dealing with someone like Caleb, because you know who he is, you know his character, you're going to treat him in a certain way, right? When you deal with a woman, are you going to deal with her the same way?
Oh, here it comes.
The number of times that I have had to smack naughty puppies and teach them that you don't come in blazing, especially with the Ginger Ninja, because
I've seen this happen.
I will
it's
crush.
So funny.
I will crush you very soundly every single time. You will walk away with your tail between your legs and you will cry. And then you will beg for the chance to work with me again because you've learned a valuable lesson.
Billy is the quintessential strong, independent woman.
Do not put yourself through that. Do not put yourself through the place where you need a smackdown because you can't listen or because your ego is so great that this woman or this guy isn't as great as you. So you're going to tell them how it should be done. It's
funny because I've seen this happen.
The number of guys who do this, and it usually drops off around 27 or 28 years old, although there's a couple exceptions, but it's very common in like 24, 25-year-old guys to be the most obnoxious little fuckers on the planet who just need the shit slapped out of them and taught how to behave. Don't be one of those. Don't waste your time and energy.
I wonder why I never have that problem.
You really are one of those people. Caleb knows a couple of them that I'm talking about.
I do. I got 3 of them right now.
Yeah, successful, great guys, but didn't know how to fucking behave.
We could do a whole thing on that.
They did not enjoy it. They did not enjoy it, but there's not one of them doesn't want to work with me.
Oh yeah, they all do. They learn. They understand quickly. Yeah.
But not everyone is that forgiving. And the only reason I put up with it in some cases was because Caleb's like, oh, Billy, work on your outcome independence. And I knew that jackass was right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember those scenarios too. Yes, correct. Right. Someone is saying the 90 Biz Builder is a great way to get out of your 9-to-5 job. As a participant in the 90 Biz Builder myself, I can test to that and it works. Cool. Awesome. It works. You know it works.
We know
I'm interviewing another 3 guys. 3 on the schedule. Another 3 people starting from 0, making thousands of dollars within 90 days or close to it. I have another 2 on the schedule. I'm adding a 3rd. So one of them made 14,000 from his second client.
I know who that is.
Yeah, don't say his name. And then we have another guy.
I want to watch that with you. That's so cool.
Yeah. So anyway, this works, guys. Works. 90daybizbuilder.com if you're interested. Okay. You mentioned setting your prices to the point where they make you uncomfortable for consulting. Frankly, that is for everything. Everything service, coaching, consulting based, which is what we teach. If you are 100% comfortable with the price that you're charging, it's too low. Correct. It needs to make you a little uncomfortable. That's the sweet spot. What if you're new but still have the experience? Do it anyways? Yes. This is across the board. I don't care how new you are. I don't care. And what I also say is your first 1 to 3 clients or customers, you can negotiate the price. That's okay. Get the business. So if they go, oh my God, that's too much money, and they won't. Usually they won't. But if they do, say, all right, fine, I'll give you a 30% discount because I'm new. That's fine. Your first 1, 2, or 3. After the 3rd one, no. That's fine.
And that can actually
Jan's
be your
talking. You
approach.
see,
But it
what's
can
that?
actually be your approach. Hey, I am starting this business. I have a new approach because I know something about this, but I'm new. And because I'm new, I have the advantage of not being stuck in the same stupid rut that all these old dudes are. That easy.
Yeah. Do you see that comment on the screen from Jan?
Oh, that's so awesome.
So Jan's talking about went to the retreat in Mexico with Billy. That was Cancun. Best trip ever. Learned so much. Took in so much access for my business. Such a talented group of people in one place. Going again in 2025. And I couldn't go. So I was at this one. You sent me
Oh my
pictures.
God. We
Yeah.
did archery. We went to a Michelin-starred restaurant. We did coaching sessions in the swimming pool and at the swim up bar. We
Those
lived
are
it up.
so awesome. I love those so much. I love
I
Mexico swim up bars. So they're so great. Those are my
Well,
favorite.
guys, I have to tell you this. This is a big admission. This girl doesn't go around in bathing suits or skimpy clothes ever. Like this is as immodest as I get, basically. And I had to get over my damn self and be in a pool every day in a bathing suit with a freaking camera going and a bunch of clients there. Talk about overcoming fears, but I did it, and we had an amazing time.
Awesome. All right, we need to go through these questions faster because I got to go in about 10 minutes. I saw a training that brought home the point that most business owners struggle with closing 80% and accepting salespeople only close at 50%. What a great point. Absolutely right. That's a fantastic point. Yeah. I don't want to go into detail about this, but when you do phone sales, you as a business owner are going to be better than anyone you hire. They're going to be half as good as you, and that's okay. Right.
And that's why you don't do the phone sales unless they're super ultra mega high price points. And even then you shouldn't.
Right.
Because if they're closing again 80% as good as you, if you're closing 80%, they're closing 50, they're within that 70% acceptable margin.
Exactly right. How does one delegate critical tasks effectively to ensure that the delegated person leaves the organization? The tax has become a major problem, burden, or emergency for the delegator. We already covered that. SOPs. Yep. That's the answer. Do certifications like PFP and even a college degree help for consulting? No. I have made millions, and that is a literal number, folks. Mm-hmm. Millions upon millions. Let's see, 7, 8 figures, more than 7 figures, 8 figures. I don't know what the number is. I should calculate it one of these days. A shitload of money doing consulting, and only once, and this is when I was like 23, did anyone ask for my college degree. One time when I was, I think, 23, a guy asked. And you know what I told him? I'm self-taught. I didn't go to college. He goes, oh, you self-taught marketplace. That's great. Hired me anyway. Yep. No one gives a fuck. Certifications and college degrees are for people who want different jobs. Those are for people who want to be a job slave the rest of your life. Then they matter. If you're a business owner, no one gives a fuck. Bill Gates dropped out of college. No one cares. So did
the people who do,
Jobs, right? So
the people who do are the people who aren't going anywhere. Their businesses aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Frankly, I've had that happen where they're like, well, how many exact college credits did you have, ma'am? Are you fucking kidding me?
And I haven't asked that question. I bet you got that because you're a woman. I bet you got that because you're a woman. No one's ever asked me.
Yeah, I've gotten that as quite a number of times. Or when I have to give them, we don't want female references. We have to talk to dudes to make sure that.
Oh, that's funny. Sure. Yeah. But again, no one gives a fuck with rare exception, even in Billy's case.
In general, 5% of people will care, and those people can fuck right off because their limiting beliefs are not going to lead them to the gold.
And it's the same thing if people who discriminate you against you. If you're young, 5%, okay. You can take a 5% hit and make $1 million. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Please don't go to college.
You will take a bigger hit if you're a woman. So don't worry about it.
Of course. Right. Exact. Good point. Yeah. So if you're a guy, you don't really need to worry about it. And if you're a woman, listen to this. You don't need to worry about it. Yeah. Are you ever biased towards certain things, or do you base everything around general facts and evidence? Here's the answer. Here's my honest answer. I'm very rational, objective. I base everything around facts and evidence. Are there times where I feel a bias? Yes, but the difference between me and the vast majority of normal humans is that I'm aware of my own bias. I don't say things like Trump's going to build a wall or Kamala's going to give us a bunch of free. I don't say these things because even if I feel that, and I don't, but if I did, because I have libertarian views, and I have views about life. Obviously, I have a lot of strong opinions. I am aware of my own biases. And I say, wait a minute, I'm saying that because I'm biased. I'm not saying that because it's accurate. So if I say, I almost said this the other day, I almost said the phrase, U2 sucks, the band U2. And I stopped myself. I said, wait a minute, that's my bias. I like heavy metal music. I'm not into U2. U2 is a very skilled band. They're great. They're just not my kind of band. So instead of saying U2 sucks, which is what normal people would say, I say, it's not for me at all, but they are a very talented band because I'm objective and I'm rational. I'm aware of my own bias. That's it. Am I perfect? No.
Opposite. I'm a little bit the opposite of Caleb because I'm on the autism spectrum and I'm not always aware of my emotions. So I have to work differently and a lot harder to do those normal humaning kind of things. So I might be good at seeing exploded diagrams of how business works together, but being a normal human and understanding my emotions and sometimes my motivations can be challenging.
Yeah.
But that's why we balance one another as well, because neither of us is 100% the right fit for anyone or everyone. But with the two of us, it's a pretty good balanced view.
Someone's asked about how much a subscription to Basecamp costs, and he already got an answer, but do emails get transcribed to Basecamp? We'll tell them about that feature where they can email it directly to Basecamp, which I've never used.
You can email it directly to Basecamp. Now, you can forward directly to your Basecamp, or you can forward directly to a project within your Basecamp. It is a very simple 2-click process right from your email.
Yeah, it automatically transcribes the email, makes it into a task. Cool.
Yep.
I have a sales team of 3 guys I found on Upwork. Could each person on the sales team sell the same services to a different narrow niche, or should we all target the same niche? When you're starting a new business, always focus on one thing. Please, for the love of God, one niche, one solution. If you're already an experienced business owner like Billy and myself, and you want to have multiple companies and do whatever you want. If you're starting from scratch, do not sell to 3 different narrow niches. Yep. One niche, and get to know that niche and get intimate with that niche and marry that niche and have sex with that niche and know everything about that niche and then make a gazillion dollars. And then later, if you want to branch out once you're making a gazillion dollars, go ahead. That's my general advice.
Agreed.
How did your A/B split testing go with YouTube ads? We're constantly A/B split testing. We're not done. I saw them for a few little bit, haven't seen them since. Well, that means you got retargeted a few times and you don't see them anymore. That's how it works. That's how the algorithm works. We're still running them. How do you structure joint ventures? That's I'll complete your question, but I don't think we'll be able to answer it. That's pretty complex. A broker wants me to manage his content pipeline and coaching community for 50% revenue. That's not a JV. That's something else. No, that's a strategic partnership. So that's not a JV. I have an LLC. He's incorporated Canada, but wants to run it through my LLC. A broker wants me to manage
his ramifications for doing it that way. A lot of this doesn't make sense, and this would require more than we can do on an on-air call.
Yeah, but that's not a JV. That's a strategic partnership, and it may or may not work depending on a bunch of factors. That's a very complicated question. Mm-hmm. You mean you made money off the guys who called you a-holes? Yes, I did an entire video on this. I've made thousands upon thousands of dollars from people who are my haters. Not lately. I haven't had haters lately, which I'm surprised. But historically, yeah. I'll tell that story another time on Alpha 2.0. I've told a story I told before. A guy posted some negative stuff about me, and I poked him. He posted about me again, and I broke my record for ebook sales that week because he was telling people, don't buy Caleb's stuff. He's a fucking loser, and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and you people are all losers if you buy his stuff. We broke the record, historic record for ebook sales that week because of him. Haters make you money. It's one of your income revenue streams because they're great because they don't charge you commission. If I hire salespeople, I got to pay them commission. Haters who have audiences, you have to pay them a goddamn.
Well, yeah, they just make it rain for you. It's great.
I've done it 3 times now.
I were controversial.
Haters with audiences. Yeah. Well, if you get big enough, you'll get haters, and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, haters make money.
Yeah. I'm not sad about it.
All right. We have to go. Perfect timing, right on the hour. So you have literally less than 1 week left to do the immersion service. If you want to join us for the live streams on November 8th. So the deadline is November 5th. You can download the videos. I will give you all the templates that I use. Plus you get free one-on-one coaching with Billy. Plus you get $1,000 off. Plus, you get unlimited access to me, and essentially like coaching for 12 hours a day for 4 days straight. That's 48 hours. And I'm probably never doing this again because this is going to be a lot of work for me. So www.caleb.top/shadow. And if you message me after November 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and say, I'm going to say, no, I'm sorry. Because it's not fair to people who made the deadline. That's just an integrity thing. I can't take your money. I can't take your business. So get this done now if you have any interest. Cool? All right. You have anything left to say, Billy, before we hang up? You good?
Thanks, everybody, for having me. We appreciate you, and definitely reach out to us about the Business Builder. If you have questions, you can go to the website. What is it, Caleb?
90daybizbuilder.com.
Yep, we're here for you for that too. And for those of you who are watching who are in the Business Builder, it was an awesome call today. Can't wait to see you Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
White.